Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Doctor. I hope you're having a fabulous day today. It is 2:45 p.m. here in the Pacific Northwest, and it is a beautiful day out right now. It is just gorgeous. We're going to be going over equipment today, and this is going to be all of the basic and advanced equipment recommendations I'm going to have for you guys. So this is my knowledge. This is knowledge from a conglomeration of all of the wikis. This is not going to be a specific equipment recommendation. Instead, the goal of this video is to give you the information you need in order to make the best decision for yourself and to start working on your equipment, because now is a really good time with the equipment event that is rolling out, because you have a lot of access to the smithing books that you're going to need. So first thing you need to know is that every weapon, every armor that you craft that is rare or above has a specific type to it, and each of those types can have different types of stats associated with them. So vital is HP, assault is attack, magic is magic, etc., etc. Some of the most important types here are going to be assault, which increases your attack, dodge, which is going to increase your evasion, and critical hit, which increases your critical hit percentage. Now on the right side here, you can see that I have an example of a hero's ring that is both built for critical hit and for vitality. And this is just a little bit of a difference in terms of the stats here. So the first one has HP 70, accuracy 3, avoidance 1, and critical hit 6. The vitality one has HP 88, accuracy 1, evasion 1, and critical 1. So while this doesn't seem very big right now at like the lower tier rare equipment that I have exampled here, when you get into specific weapons, for example, so like right now we have the golden axe that just came out. There's a regular golden axe, which is say an assault type, and that'll have a critical hit of 4. And then there's a critical hit golden axe, which has a critical hit of 18 on it. And any of you who use Yerma know you're going to need a high crit build for her launch ability. Any of you who are spear users right now with the Drakehorn spear, that has a similar amount of critical hit on it. So it's really important to get these types right when you are planning your weapon builds for your units. One thing though right now is that it is random what type is crafted when you craft your weapon, and it can change from going from +1 to +2. That is going to change thanks to a quality of life that's going to be coming soon. But for right now, if you land on like an assault weapon that you need that is +3, I would just keep it, because you're going to have a way to +5 it and keep it an assault in the future. There's no reason to gamble and try and go for that +5 and risk getting like a magic weapon, for example, on an assault character. Alright, so here we just have the cost of leveling up one piece of gear and then the cost of leveling it up to +5. So to max out a piece of equipment, you're going to need 442 gold rocks, essentially. To +5 a piece of equipment, you're going to need 1,978 gold rocks, right? Because you're going to be having to craft multiple weapons. So just to give you guys some perspective, in order to craft a +2 weapon, you need to craft 2 level 1 weapons, and then you craft them together into the +1 weapon. In order to craft a +2 weapon, you need 2 level 10 +1 weapons to craft them into a +2 weapon. In order to craft a +3 weapon, you need 2 +2 level 20 swords in order to get that +3 sword. So that's kind of the cycle, and that's why you're going to see these huge amounts of rocks being required for that +5. Personally, if I were you guys, I am a big fan of rolling for the +3 right now. I think the +3 is the best way to go, because it's, especially if you're free to play, it's that right balance of giving you some good stats and making sure that you are going to be taken care of. And if you roll like a magic one or something, it's not the end of the world. You can always +4 it later on. Now, let's get into Awakening, because this is when things start getting really extreme. So first off, in order to get any type of a weapon to +5, you're going to need 63 recipe copies of it. Now, you can see here in the top chart, it has the Awakening and the rarity, along with the total needed. So what this is referencing is the amount of books, seen here in the top left corner, that you're going to need to max out a piece of equipment from level 10 to level 50, right? So you can see that going for UR weapons, going for UR armor, is just going to magnify the amount of books you need total. Down here in the lower right corner, you can see if I wanted to +5 a UR weapon, which There is none right now in global, I believe. It would take 1,725 of these books. To give you some perspective, when I'm farming them, I farm about 1 to 200 every 3 hours or so when I'm doing multi-farming online, and that's with a solid multi-farm group with all of our friends on Twitch. So that's a big ask, and you can see here it's going to be a lot. So what I'm focusing on right now is I'm focusing on what's attainable for me as a Dolphin or as a free-to-play player when I was free-to-play. I can't call myself free-to-play anymore. So I focus on the SR weapons. I think it could be very relevant for you to focus on the R weapons as well. And in fact, we're going to talk about how relevant using normal weapons is, and how just maxing out a normal piece of weapon or armor can give you more stats actually than a rare or a SR gun that is only level 10. So that's all going to be coming. Moral of the story though is make sure you know how many books you need. I would not spend arena tokens or PvP tokens on these to buy the books. I would wait until there's an event that comes out and farming them. Right now, the event that we have that is the hard difficulty quest is an excellent quest to farm these books on. And if you have a greatsword user, like my Stern is a greatsword user, I'm just farming as much of these books as possible because I want to max awaken all of the weapons that I currently have. And yes, they're going to be like +3 or +1 assault or anything like that, but I have the right types and I have the max level, so I'm going to unlock them all the way up there. Alright, you guys. Now, end rarity equipment, like I was talking about here, this is completely relevant gear. And this is just some examples here in the top right corner. You have leather clothing and bronze helm. Both of these my characters are using right now. It's an easy way to get 120 HP. It's an easy way to get some evasion, some defense. Look at the spirit on this leather clothing. That is 5 spirit. You're not going to have any equipment right now that's better than this for the most part, unless you have, say, an evasion-based wizard hat on an evasion unit, which we'll be getting into later on when we start talking about what pieces of gear you should be buying, what recipes you should be aiming for. Normal gear is good. You don't have to awaken it. You can just level it straight to 30. You can level the weapons straight to 30. They are viable, and oftentimes they're a good substitute until you can awaken or make some of that SR or R equipment better than it. Now, let's talk about the attack seals when you're increasing the level of a piece of equipment. So when you're increasing the level of a piece of equipment here, you have 3 options for seals, and these seals come from PvP, but most often they come from special events. So we have that high difficulty dungeon that we can farm right now, and the seals actually drop from it. So you can see I have 31 accuracy seals, 9 critical hit seals from farming this event. So the way that leveling up your weapon works is that the stat gains are somewhat random, right? The computer rolls a dice on them, it goes to see, okay, we have this many stat gains you've earned, let me distribute them around what you have. So increasing these attack or crit will increase the chance that you can max the stats on your weapon. So these are very powerful, and these are meant to be paired with hammers, and I would not ever use these unless you have a weapon that you are going to be focusing on exclusively, right? If you have that +3 golden blade or +4 golden blade, and you're like, okay, I'm going to level this up now. And then at that point, I would make sure you're using attack seals every time, using crit seals. You try to go for the stat you want to max. Now, another way you can aim to max out your stats is through hammers. And hammers are these handy little things, and they are very expensive. They are only gotten from the arena, and they cost 1,800 arena tokens. I would not buy them with my arena tokens. I think waiting for the events, like they were a reward in the monthly login where we got 3 of each hammer. These hammers are valuable, and here's why. Let's say that I'm leveling up this golden blade +3 right here on the screen, and I go to roll leveling up stats, and I just get so many magic and HP up stats. It's just terrible, right? Instead of getting the attack stat that I really want. In order to maximize the attack stat, what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to use my hammers to try and max out my magic stat if possible. I'm going to try and max out my HP stat, And then what's going to happen is when you're rolling for those stat upgrades, it's only going to be distributed between attack and evasion. So using your hammers to lock out different stats so that you can focus on a single stat raising while you're leveling it is an incredible strategy for trying to max out your stats. Now keep in mind that your type of weapon here at the top also determines what your stat growth chances are going to be for the different stats. And I believe that's true, but there's no evidence necessarily on it. So that would be how I would use the hammers. The other way I would use the hammers is for like rounding out your equipment, right? So I would think about like if you have agility minus on a piece of gear and you've leveled it up to max and it still has the agility minus on it, but it can actually be zeroed out. That's like a case right here. If you see this evasion is -2, but it can actually be made to go to 0. So it's like, yeah, I want that evasion 0 because I want my unit to stand a chance to survive. So you would use your hammer on it to raise that evasion up to 0. The unfortunate thing with hammers is that you can only use 10 of them in total, and I believe you can only use 3 of them per the amount of hammers that you have. So like, I don't believe I could have used 10 attack hammers. I believe you can only use 3. If I am wrong with that, anyone in the comments section, please go ahead and correct me. I do not have a million hammers yet to experiment, but that has been my experience with the hammers. Now, besides like trying to get to your max stats, something else you might want to know, like let's say you get your golden sword or golden blade +3 to level 50, and you just have terrible stats. So you actually have access to resmithing hammers, and this is a monthly reward as well. You can also buy it from the arena. And I don't know about you guys, but when I first resmithed equipment, there was no information out there about it. And I was scared that I was going to have to use the books that I had gotten from my blade and use the books again. But that doesn't happen. Instead of going to level 0 out of 10 and having to awaken the blade every time I move up, all it does is it sets all my stats to 0 and puts me 0 out of 50. So that means I can use more hammers on it. That means I can use more like attack seal increases when I'm leveling it again. All of that stuff. So you guys don't have to be scared of using the resmithing hammers. Just know you are going to have to pay the full cost of leveling it up again. So this is going to enable you to kind of fight that RNG, help maximize your weapons that you want to level. And it's going to be that way that really sort of helps you out if you get screwed by NRG. Now, let's talk about the ability bonuses here. And you see here on the left side, I have a Lionheart replica +1, and I have a longsword +1, and they are both swords. The longsword +1 is a rare, and the Lionheart replica +1 is a MR. They're both magic types, and you can see that they both have slash attack +2. So one of the differences in weapons that have different rarities is that they have more stats in their bonus ability later down the tier. So you can see over here on the right side, I wasn't able to get a Lionheart replica here because I didn't have any more Lionheart replicas. So I just pulled up a Golden Blade, which is another MR. And you can see that I have slash attack +12 versus slash attack +15. So you can see that if you have a higher rarity piece of equipment, you're going to get that slash attack +3 in here a little bit more, which will modify your total damage by about 3%. I am just pulling up the wrong slide, you guys. You guys, that was the end of the slide. We made it. All right, you guys. Well, I hope you guys are at least a little bit more informed right now, and you feel like you can make the right decisions pertaining to your equipment. If you have any specific questions, please make sure to leave it down in the bottom of the comment section. And remember, guys, I do love hearing from you, and I love hearing everything. So please make sure to come in our Discord, hop in. We do have conversations about War of the Visions all day. I will have an equipment recommendation video coming out later today, which will talk about all the different pieces of equipment which I think are worth investing in, and which I think you guys should be investing in too. Have a great rest of your day, guys, and I'll probably see you guys, some of you in stream later tonight. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.